Yeah. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. Welcome to Research Rockstar Tour Series 3. And this series is collaboration with the Faculty of Education, Universiti Malaya. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Zabidi Abdul Razak, Deputy Dean of the Social Advancement and Happiness Research Cluster. I'm responsible for moderating this session. Yeah. The aim of this research Rockstar Tours are to provide an opportunity for researchers, people working in the field, and others with an interest in the area to gather and discuss the potential to collaborate, to network with each other, to engage with researchers and experienced research experts who will be sharing insight into the activities and latest work. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate your taking time of your busy schedule to join us today. We hope you will learn a lot today. I'm also glad to welcome our distinguished panelists to this session, Professor Dr. Zambrus Yuzaidi Muhammad Yusuf from Department of Community, Oral Health and Clinical Prevention, Faculty of Dentistry, Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy David, Department of Curriculum and Instructional Technology, Faculty of Education, Associate Professor Dr. Hendrik Simon Cornelis Metzeler, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, ready, yeah? Okay, to begin with, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Zahara Hussein, represent of Faculty of Education, Deputy Dean Postgraduate Studies, Faculty of Education, to give a welcoming remark. Associate Professor Dr. Zahara, I will now hand over the floor to you.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning.
Salam.
Okay. Sorry for because I'm in the class. Just maybe 2 or 3 minutes for me. Okay, thank you very much to Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Zabidi, Deputy Dean Social Advancement and Happiness Research Cluster. Can my voice clear? Dr. Zabidi?
Yeah, you can hear you. Yep.
You heard me? Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
So thank you. I'm actually PM Dr. Husaina having a meeting, so I replaced her. So congratulations to all of you for your research grant. Okay. Maybe here we have Professor Dr. Zambrus Yuzadi Muhammad Yusuf from Department of Community Oral Health and Clinical Prevention, Faculty of Dentistry. Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy, my colleague, Department of Curriculum and Instructional Technology, Faculty of Education. And Associate Professor Dr. Hendrik Simon Cornelis Metzeler, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering. Okay. For Faculty of Education, what can I stress on our research strength? For the purpose of interdisciplinary research, actually we have actually quite broad field of research. We have a psychology and counseling department. So maybe if medical or in dentistry, in terms of psychology, we have experts in the psychology and counseling. We have Department of Educational Foundation and Humanities. This is more on moral, ethics, akhlaq, and also the as well as pedagogical and curriculum. And we have also Department of Mathematics and Science Education. We are expert in mathematics education, in the science education, and also we have Department of Curriculum. Dr. Dorothy here, also from the Department of Curriculum and Instructional Technology. And we have Department of Jabatan Pengurusan dan Pendidikan Polisi, Policy and Education, Dr. Zabidi, in that department. Okay, and actually that we can collaborate for the interdisciplinary research, and we have also expertise not only in the field of their own expertise, but also in the methodology aspects, yes, such as we have also qualitative experts, quantitative, and also the uh, uh, for the apa nama kata DDR, the Design and Development Research, and also we also have lecturers, experts in the in-depth quantitative approach in the educational research. So I think that's from me. So actually I'm bidang terjun lah. I'm in the class actually. I just got the email this morning to share, not share, what to open. I'm also actually Dr. Zabidi is supposed to be this session, but he is the owner of the research, yeah, of the research cluster. So what to say that congratulations to all of you, and hope you can do a best research for the University of Malaya. I think that's all from me. Thank you so much, Dr. Zabidi.
Okay.
Anything else?
Okay, thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Zahar Hussein, Deputy Dean Postgraduate Studies, for the informative remarks. Even though in the last minute, she's still willing to share with us about the program, or also all the expert area in the Faculty of Education. Thank you very much again. We really appreciate your time to share the information with us. Thank you very much. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, in this session, our panelists will be given 15 minutes for the presentation. The Q&A session will be at the end of the session based on the questions sent by participants via the chat box on Teams. Now, before I pass the virtual stage to our first distinguished speaker, Professor Dr. Zambrus, let me bring you to his brief biography. Dr. Zambrus Uzaidi received his Bachelor of Dental Surgery degree from Queen's University of Belfast in 1997, a Master degree from University College London in 2004, a Diploma in Dental Public Health from the Royal College of Surgeons England in 2004 as well, and a PhD in Oral Health Promotion from University Malaya in 2013. He has experience working for the NHS England for 8 years before joining in 2005 as a lecturer. Currently, he is a professor at the Department of Community Oral Health and Clinical Prevention. Dr. Zambrus is actively involved in undergrad and postgraduate teaching. In terms of research, he is principal investigator of 10 research projects related to oral health promotion and oral health related quality of life research. Is working closely with the Ministry of Health as a consultant in National Oral Health Survey for preschool children, health promoting schools, guidelines development, and various national oral health promotion program evaluations to generate evidence of effectiveness. Has 8 copyrights registered with UMCIC and my IPO. Yeah, without further ado, I would like to welcome the first panel to share his experience. Prof. Zambrus, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Zabidi, for the introduction. Okay, before I begin, I would like to share my slides. Can I confirm that everyone can see the slides that I'm sharing at the moment?
Yes, Prof, we can see your slides.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank the cluster, Happiness Cluster, for giving us the chance through this grant to conduct this research. So, so this morning I would like to share our research experience in a simple language, in layman term, so that everyone can understand. Another aim of this presentation is to also share with everyone our research interests, our niche areas, so that perhaps we can collaborate further, yeah, in future research, in your research, if the research is relevant between our areas and your areas. So even though this research is about enhancing good oral health in young children, it is essentially about improving their behaviors, yeah, which lead to good oral health, which also lead to good happiness in years to come. Okay, this research is essentially about testing an improvised oral health program for preschool, and then we compare it with the existing program in the community trial to see whether it is effective or not. Yeah, and I will take you further in this research through the subsequent slides. Okay, before I go further, I would like to introduce everyone to our research teams. The aim is that everyone knows who are they, and perhaps we can collaborate in the future, yeah, using different grants and so on. This research consists of 3 sub-programs. Sub-program 1 is led by myself, and our research teams consist of Associate Professor Dr. Azlida Muhammad Noor, Dr. Nurul Hayati Anwar. She was our doctorate student. She has graduated now using this grant. And we also collaborated with Para Oral Health Division because we were using their facilities as well as their personnel in this research. The sub-program 2 was headed by Prof. Mariani. Although I believe that she has retired now, I'm sure there will be other academic staff within that department who also has a similar research niche as Prof. Mariani. The sub-program 3 was headed by Dr. Siti Izzalela Mustafa from Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. So this slide shows some information about the research teams, about what we do, yeah, so that essentially we welcome future collaborations with other disciplines from other faculties at the same time. My expertise is mainly on community oral health promotion and clinical prevention. Essentially, I tend to develop program to replace old program, and then at the same time evaluate the effectiveness of the program. I also keen in the area of quality of life related to oral health, because essentially when the program is developed and conducted, one of the outcome would be not only improvement in behavior, improvement in oral health status, but also improvement in their quality of life. And my main research target group is children and adolescents. My research partners, Prof. Mariani, her expertise is in children cognitive psychology, as well as early childhood education, which is very important as far as this research is concerned. My other important research partner is Dr. Siti Izzalela. She is an expert in publishing technology, in marketing, communications, as well as in new media consumption and society. So here we are. Yeah, if you want to collaborate with us in future research, we are here and welcome future collaboration with any disciplines in UM. A bit background about our research. Now, I mainly work on children, and over the years, we know that children suffer a lot. Young children tend to suffer a lot from caries as well as toothache. If you look at the last survey, national survey of preschool children, it was conducted in 2015. About more than 7 in 10 children, yeah, suffer from caries and toothaches. So this is unfair, yeah, because children should not suffer from that. And if you look on the lower right, these are the consequences to the children once they suffer from caries. Not only they suffer from pain and suffering, they also have to endure hospital visits, loss of sleep. They tended to miss school. Yeah, if the toothache is prolonged, they tend to affect growth because they lack nutrition. And at school, they tend to lose confidence. They have poor smile, not mentioning that they often got teased at school. This is not fair, yeah, for the children at such a young age. Apart from that, the impacts also influence the parents. Apart from we have to pay a lot of money to treat our children, we also lost a lot of working hours, not mentioning that we tend to lose sleep as well. So other siblings are also affected. So this is not fair. Yeah, this is not fair. So something urgently need to be done. This problem has been going on for decades now, but it seems to us that not much has been done, yeah, to improve the oral health of the preschool children. So something needs to be done. Everyone knows that, the MOH knows that, the KKM, Kementerian pun knows that, but what should be done, yeah, and how this can be done, and who should be involved. Okay, a little bit background on the current preschool oral health program. So the current school service for preschool consists of dental hygienists attending preschool 2 times a year. Once they reach there, they conduct oral examination, they give oral health education to the children, they teach them how to brush their teeth properly. At the same time, they also apply fluoride varnish to the teeth of the children to combat against caries. Yeah, this is good. But it seems that after 4 decades of implementation, but the disease burden of the preschool is still high. Yeah, caries is still high, children is still suffering. Yeah, so something seems to be lacking, and more should be done to overcome this problem. So if we look at evidence, what actually lead to beautiful smile throughout life? This is very important, yeah, because children who have beautiful smile when they are young, they tend to have good habits in terms of oral health. So this habit, if they are inculcated at such a young age, they tend to have, this habit tends to persist, yeah, when they grow older, and they are tended to have more beautiful smiles, yeah, compared to people who have poor habit when they were young. And evidence also shows that people with beautiful smiles tend to be more successful, yeah, in later life. So something needs to be done. If you look at evidence, the evidence pointing towards 2 factors in order for us to improve the smiles and happiness of the children. One is we must empower the community. And once we have done that, we also must support the environment. So we know that dental therapists are working hard. You know, they visit the school twice a year to look after the preschool children, but we must also see where these preschool children are mostly at, yeah, during their everyday life. And we need to target these significant others who spend their time with their own children. So we know that for the children to have good oral health, we must be able to tackle the teachers, because the children spend most of the time with the teachers at school during weekdays, and also the parents at home. Yeah. So therefore, the key is we need to tackle the teachers in terms of oral health, and we need to educate the parents at home on children's oral health care. Now, the current program has done something about the teachers, but very minimal and almost non-existent when it comes to teachers, when it comes to parents. Yeah. So our new program must target these 2 extra stakeholders, the teachers and the parents, to ensure that the children are covered within their own supportive environment, supported by the 3 significant others, and also empower the teachers and the parents for children oral health care at home, as well as in-class oral health education at school. So there is a need to collaborate with other experts. Yeah. So in that case, in order to tackle the teachers, we collaborated with Prof. Marani. She is an expert in early childhood education and child psychology, because we wanted to develop a special oral health booklet for teachers. This has not been developed before in the KKM, yeah, surprisingly. And during our collaboration, we managed to develop a special booklet for school children. This booklet was developed by various dental specialties, vetted by Prof. Marani herself, and also by preschool education experts in Ministry of Education, which is very important, before the book is tested among teachers. Yeah, so this booklet will manage to be developed before the intervention was conducted. So as far as parents were concerned, we seek the help of Dr. Siti Ezalela. She is an expert in social media. So working together with her, we managed to develop 25 oral health infographics that we develop, tested, validated, and sent to the parents every 2 weeks over 6 months. Yeah, this is very important. So development of the book for teachers and development of the infographics for parents are beyond our expert, yeah, as dentists. So therefore, we collaborated with the right experts in order that this program is prepared well and could be developed in time before we tested it in community trial against the existing program for preschool children, which has been run for almost 3 decades. So therefore, these 3 sub-programs, yeah, interventions was run over 6 months in a community trial. We have dental therapists who went to the school twice a year. We have teachers who teach oral health lessons in class over 6 months. Yeah, this has been good. And also we have parents who receive regular oral health infographics with the aim to educate the parents, improve their oral health knowledge, and also give them information about the skills that are required so that they can look after their children oral hygiene care at home, and also some advice on healthy diet for oral health. So these 3 programs these 3 sub-programs work together, yeah, work hard together, and we managed to prepare the materials before the research was conducted. So unlike the old program, yeah, the current improvised program targeting the 3 target groups, yeah, dental therapists, teachers, and parents working together towards a common goal, which is very important, to improve the oral health behaviors of the children, to improve their oral health status, and as well improve their quality of life and happiness in years to come. So this is the protocol that was developed for this program, and we managed to publish this in Trials, which is highly reputable ISI Web of Science journal. So we were quite lucky because of the close collaboration between the 3 sub-programs, we managed to prepare the teachers' oral health booklet and also the parents' oral health infographics in time before we started the intervention. Yeah, so the intervention ran smoothly over 6 months, being tested against the old program for preschool children. And then we were quite fortunate because we managed to complete this testing at community level, yeah, before the COVID pandemic started. We finished in December, where the COVID pandemic restriction for movement started in March the following year. So all of that became possible because we work closely and we have our specific targets to reach, and we are quite grateful, yeah, for the full participation of the 2 sub-programs who participated actively within this research. But this research is not without challenges, yeah, because when we work between disciplines, there will be some barriers that we need to address. So one of the most important things that we experience in our project is that this intervention requires the 3 sub-programs work together at the same time. Yeah, it's very important. If there is one delay in one sub-program progress, then the other whole project cannot move forward. And this is very important. So there were some evidence where during the development of the materials, there was some delay a little bit in terms of testing the infographics for parents, testing the teachers' oral health booklet at the Ministry of Education level. Yeah, but we managed to overcome this problem. And the way we did this is that we developed a structured planning and coordination system in such a way that that system required commitment of all parties to ensure that the deadlines are met. Yeah, so we reminded each other about the deadlines. It's very important. I think what we do is we develop a special WhatsApp group, very simple, but the leaders are there. Yeah, so we always communicated with the leaders maybe once a week, just to remind them, just to say hi, yeah, just to ensure that the progress of their own sub-program was according to plan. Even though each sub-program have their own objective, which need to be fulfilled, but the 3 sub-programs must work together, yeah, to achieve common goal. This is very important. Another challenge that we faced was that each of us have teaching responsibilities. Yeah, like myself, I involved in undergraduate and postgraduate teaching, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 for undergraduate. We supervise them in the clinic. We also run, I also involved in 2 postgraduate programs. So we are very packed. If you look at my diary, we are very packed. Yeah. So this can itself lead to barriers. It's not that we don't want to commit, but because we have other responsibilities that we have to look to. Yeah. Tanggungjawab hakiki dalam pengajaran dan pembelajaran. So we overcome this limitation by having a well-planned Gantt chart. This is very important. Most researchers, they do Gantt chart just for the sake of applying for grant. Yeah, I mean, I also sometimes do that. But as far as this research is concerned, where we have 3 sub-programs must run together simultaneously without any delay, a well-planned Gantt chart is very important. Another one that we found very helpful in terms of keeping to deadline is a well-trained research assistants, where we'll train them well. The research assistants between sub-program work well with other research assistants from other sub-programs to make sure that the progress are being made simultaneously. We also work closely with dental officers in Perak because the intervention will require participation from 4 dental officers and 2 teams of dental hygienists, because one team will work with the intervention preschools, 15 preschools altogether, and the other team of dental hygienists will work with the control preschools. There were 15 control preschools which received the current program for preschool children. So a well-trained dental assistants, research assistants, as well as a well-planned Gantt charts are very important, and we found these 2 aspects really help us in ensuring that the 3 sub-programs are run simultaneously as much as possible. Another challenge that we met was project was not run according to plan. Yeah. For example, the school teachers, they're supposed to give oral health education to the preschool children once a week for over 6 months. Once every 2 weeks for over 6 months. But sometimes because of some other kekangan, the teachers from some of the preschool were not able to run the program as planned, even though they managed to complete it. But the time duration may vary from one preschool to another. Yeah. So this is something that worries us. So we prevent this problem very early by having good communication with the teachers. Yeah. So that sub-program by Prof. Mariani was crucial, because she met with the teachers during the development, and also ensures that the teachers committed to their tasks in developing, in conducting the program. So Prof. Mariani also went there, yeah, menjalankan lawatan rahsia to make sure that what we call it, the intervention fidelity, yeah, and how far the intervention was run according to plan was met, yeah, for all the preschools involved in the study, which was very good. Now, what are the tips for working with researchers from other disciplines? For our own perspective, the most important thing is that we need to identify the need for truly interdisciplinary research. This is very important. This is a bottom-up approach. I find that it is important to find the need first, the need for a new program, the need to improve an old program, the need to have somebody expert in child psychology, the need to have somebody expert in social media, yeah, in developing the research itself. This is very important, yeah, because if we able to find the truly interdisciplinary research team, then we tend to eliminate incompatible partners, yeah, which we avoided as far as our research is concerned. By working bottom-up approach, yeah, we can identify natural research partners and stakeholders at the same time. So I tend to call this marriage made in heaven, because by relying on the needs of the research, we tend to be able to attract the right partners for the research, which is very important to promote success, and also to avoid crises along the way, because the research took about 2 years. Yeah, it is quite a long time. This is very important that all research sub-program must work together to ensure that the common goal at the end is achieved. So my third tip is that although the research consists of various sub-programs, there must be a common goal. Yeah, each sub-program must work towards common goal. This is very important. Otherwise, there will be a tendency for each sub-program will deviate and go towards their own way in such a way that the whole project does not seem seamless. Yeah, in such a way that you all the sub-programs may not work synergistically towards a common goal. This is very important. In our research, the common goal is children's oral health behavior, children oral hygiene level, parents oral health literacy. Yeah, this is important. So we tend to remind our sub-programs toward this common goal, which we were quite fortunate to have all three sub-programs working towards one common goal. Another tip is to have leadership in research. This is very important. The sub-program must lead meetings, must assist other sub-programs if possible. We must be able to create positive vibes, yeah, to give reassurance, yeah, bagi semangat, so that the sub-programs, yeah, will work continuously, simultaneously over a long period of time. This is very important. And last but not least, we also felt that between group communication is very important. As far as our research is concerned, we just developed a simple WhatsApp group, as I mentioned before. Yeah, that one we found was very effective, where we can communicate freely between me and Prof. Marani and between me and Dr. Siti, yeah, to make sure that the progress of the research is done within time. So within the opportunity, the grant given to us, we were quite grateful. So this we managed to come up and fulfill various research impact. One of it is that we managed to come up with Teachers Oral Health Education Handbook, which was not developed before for preschool, and we will trying to adopt this this booklet, yeah, in the current preschool oral healthcare program, so that preschool teachers also can use this handbook for their teaching. So the second one is that we develop parents oral health infographics, which we want to share with Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia, so that they can use similar infographics to educate parents at home. Yeah. So this development of infographics involves several series of validation and testing, and so we felt that this is a very important asset that can be taken up by Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia to be included in their current preschool program. The third impact is that there is a potential policy change in the preschool oral healthcare program, where the current program that we tested was effective. Yeah, the new improvised program managed to improve children behavior, managed to improve their oral health cleanliness, it managed to improve the parents' literacy, oral health literacy. So at this moment, even though the testing was done in Perak, another state in Terengganu, yeah, has adopted this program, and they are now implementing this program to replace the current preschool oral healthcare program, which I felt is very, very good in terms of improvement of new program at national level. So we also, another impact is that there is potential changes in preschool oral health education, where we will introduce the teachers oral health handbook, yeah, within the preschool curriculum. Another improvement impact that we found is that in terms of children oral health habits, like I mentioned before, yeah, improvement in their brushing behavior, improvement in their diet intake, and so on, as well as improvement in their oral cleanliness, which is very important towards having good oral health, good quality of life, and good happiness overall in the future. And last but not least, we found evidence where parents' oral health literacy has been improved. They also, through this community testing, showed that they have better skills in looking after their children's oral health compared to parents from children receiving the old program or the existing program for preschool children. I think that's all that I can share with you today. I hope I have not exceeded the time limit. So thank you very much for that, and I would welcome Q&A from UM communities as far as this research is concerned. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Prof. Zambrus, for the informative talks. And from the Prof. Zambrus presentation, we understand that with a great collaboration amongst researchers, either from science or social science, they can produce So many good impact or great impact from this research. Congratulations and thank you very much again, Prof. Zambrus, for sharing this information. And also, we also, okay, thank you. And we also get good advice, Prof, from Prof. Zambrus about how we can face all the challenges during the what I mean is during the conducting of the research. Okay, thank you very much again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we move to the second panel. Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy DeWitt, also my fellow friends from Faculty of Education. Okay, Dr. Dorothy, before we start. Okay, Dr. Dorothy is an Associate Professor in the Curriculum and Instructional Technology Department, Faculty of Education, and recipient of Endeavour Executive Fellowship, Australian Government. She was formerly with the Educational Technology Division, Ministry of Education, Malaysia, from 2002 to 2012, where she was involved in management of development of digital materials during the Smart School pilot project and later in change management activities for school, as well as in the research, management, and promotion of innovation in instruction. Her interests are in designing new pedagogies and applying technologies for knowledge management, collaborative mobile learning, and problem solving. She has 20 WOS publications and 6 books on these areas. She was also a consultant in projects related to curriculum acceptance, 21st century learning, and digital ecosystem. She conducts workshops and blended learning and online pedagogies, locally and internationally. She has won awards in teaching innovation, both at the national and international level. Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy, you take the floor.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Zabidi, for the very nice introduction. Okay, so I will now share the screen on the PowerPoints that I presented. Okay, so just to let you have a look at the, for you to get to know me, I suppose. Okay, so I did this first slide because I thought that it would reflect my interests. Okay, and maybe my interest, I think, has influenced me to look at multidisciplinary research. Okay, so just for stimulus, okay, where do you think I took these photos? Has any one of you been to that particular place that I have gone to? And do you know where it is? So just something to get you thinking. And if you have the answer, please do type in the chat, and maybe at the end you may ask me, or you may, if you get the right answer, I'll probably tell you, okay, you're correct. Okay, so just to stimulate your interest. So thank you very much, Prof, for introducing me. I also looked at my introduction. I am a University Malaya alumni, okay, actually right from my bachelor's degree. I have a Bachelor of Science with Education, and so I'm actually a science graduate as well as education, but I decided to go on into the education sector and into instructional technology because of the work that I was involved in the beginning. And I think the work experience that I have has also shaped me. And I realized that you know, when we have difficulties, when we have problems, just like when it was time for me to go for sabbatical, there was no more money given to lecturers to go on their sabbatical leave. I had to go and look for money, for opportunities. And that was when I started applying here and there for grants, and I managed to secure the Endeavour Executive Fellowship Program given by the Australian government. So I am quite grateful that the university has enabled me to go on this kind of fellowship program, actually, and to the Australian government, who paid for my stint there in Australia at Macquarie University. Okay, so my expertise, what I wanted to develop further, was on virtual reality. And when I went to Macquarie University, I really managed to dwell on how virtual reality could be used for education. Okay, so I am an educationist at heart, and I think by sharing the grants that I have been involved with, okay, my work, then you can see how, I guess, we approach multidisciplinary research. So when I first came into MU, I applied for the UMRG grant, okay, the research grant. So this was not the big program that Prof. Zambrus elaborated on. Those days, you had a single program. So I continued on my PhD work actually. I did a lot on collaborative mobile learning. So I expanded it to see whether at rural schools, whether you could use it or not. So my collaboration was with the school. As you can see from the picture, Sekolah Menengah Lui Barat. Have you heard of that school before? Okay, do you know which part of the world it is? Okay, it's in Negeri Sembilan, very close to the border of Pahang. Okay, so it involved a lot of traveling, and it is considered a very rural school, but I am very happy to say the school in recent years has actually gone up and have actually improved in their use of technology. I was there in 2012, 2013, and we were giving training sessions, me and my team, for using collaborative learning tools. In 2012, collaborative learning tools was not very popular. Now everyone uses forums and Google sites. That time there was no Google site being used. Okay, it was not time of pandemic. Teachers were hardly do not see the relevance of using technology, and the WhatsApp messages that we use. Okay, I remember looking and asking, because we do ask the students what do they use. Okay, they actually were more on text messaging rather than WhatsApp. Some had already started using WeChat. Okay, so update of technology was not very much, but okay, I think we probably had an influence. Also internet was a problem there. My other grants, so I was a PI, principal investigator, in that particular grant, but I have participated as a member, and I think I'm very active when I am a member of the grant. So in other multidisciplinary research, like in Sekolah Rendah Orang Asli, an indigenous school, again, it was in a rural area, it's a primary school, okay, and where we also implement another different module based on their learning styles for Orang Asli children. So we guide the teachers in that particular school that was identified to use technology. I was also involved in the project with knowledge transfer program, where we have children, special needs children, and this particular program was at the Pusat Pemulihan Dalam Community, Pusat Pemulihan Dalam Community. So the community sets up a center and helps to train special needs children. Okay, so again, this was using technology, and so I think that by looking at these programs that we have done at the Faculty of Education mainly, but with collaboration with, if you have a look, with schools in rural areas, with special needs, okay, and in different areas, okay, of research, we are able to do multidisciplinary research, education with another area, education with special needs children, education with the underprivileged, perhaps. Another project which I was involved in developing problem solving and thinking skills. So teachers, okay, do not really, just like lecturers in the university, we just teach facts because it's easy to teach facts. to give facts to our students, but we should be training our students to think. Okay, and this was a project where I was involved in, which I did in collaboration with the State Department, okay, of Selangor, and it covered the several districts, okay, the education districts all in the state of Selangor, the PPDs we call them, okay, where we developed, okay, together something that could be used, we hope, for teachers in developing thinking skills among their students. So training teachers. Okay, in another project we did with vocational colleges. So I was not a PI for that project. I was a member for industry-based curriculum in a vocational, in Malaysian, for Malaysian vocational colleges. So working with institutions, government institutions, schools, okay, to help actually spread what we are doing in education, okay. Or so perhaps like in the project that Prof. Zambrus mentioned, you are actually spreading your expertise so that school students, teachers, and others will be able to benefit from it. So in my case, I'm spreading out the thinking skills which teachers should be having to different institutions. And a project which I recently got from the FRGS is to design an inclusive digital literacy pedagogical framework for Industrial Revolution 4.0. So I'm looking forward to do this project. We are doing pedagogies with the teacher training institution in Kuala Lumpur, and we will touch on many schools that offer the inclusive training program for students, because I think a lot of teachers, okay, have to deal with students with special needs. However, they do not have the expertise, they do not have much expertise. More so if you talk about technology or digital expertise, they are not able to train, they do not know what to do or how to train or what should be used for training. And so this is a project that I will be involved in. We are starting, I've been awarded, but so far money has not come in, so we have not been using it yet, okay. But I think the most, what shall I say, extensive project where I believe all of us in the university can be a part of is a project related to teaching and learning. So I was a recipient of the Lighter in the early days, and at that particular time, used Lighter grant to develop a collaborative TPAC module for students that I was teaching, who I was teaching that particular year, 2016-17. Okay, and I found that that was a very good project, and we could develop new things for students to use and share, okay, their products actually with them. And that led on to developing areas of how to enhance teaching and learning for actually lecturers. One of my PhD students carried on further in this field and developed for the different types of learning. We have intellectual skills, we have cognitive skills, as well as psychomotor and affective skills. If you want to teach these skills to students, how or what are the technologies that would best be used for activation of their knowledge, demonstration, integration, application? Okay, so we went on later to do a lot of training with ADEC. So we have actually used these modules developed after this grant into the PhD program, someone's PhD program, and into practical application of the module with lecturers in University Malaya. So the younger new lecturers have to go through the MRO program. They have to make use of that module, which I think allows insight into collaborative technology, pedagogical, and content knowledge. Okay, how to integrate your teaching and learning. So I would also like to highlight some work that I did interdisciplinary, I would consider, with our students. So this was from a nursing education, a nursing educator, okay, who was involved. She was one of the students in the master's program, and she designed a basic life support. Basic life support is nothing new for people in the medical field, but for teachers, so in this particular case, it is for homeschool children. That is something new. So with experts in homeschooling, okay, we got together and we got the experts, okay, to come out and help us with a design for an instructional module. What could be given to homeschool children who are at home, who suddenly have their grandparents maybe having a heart attack? Could they help? Will they be able to help? Okay. Another project that I'm very proud about is about intercultural communicative competence. This is our PhD student from the Faculty of Education also. So we looked at, she is a lecturer in the Polytechnic, okay, and we looked at developing intercultural communicative competence. This is not a cognitive skill, but perhaps a attitude or a work skill. Okay, so this project actually we carried on because this is a very interesting area which I and her decided to dwell further in, and we did more projects on it. Okay, another area which I did with my student is on flipped classroom, developing problem solving skills, and that also is a very useful area for technical students, okay, in technical vocational institutions, specifically community colleges. So I have also been working with colleagues in the university, just to show with you. This is one of our friends, my friend. Okay, we started to work together, and we did a paper on a technology tool, okay, using knowledge management processes for developing knowledge. Okay, and I show you this because it's a paper that is a high-ranking journal, so I try to pick the better journals. Okay, so there is potential in doing multidisciplinary research. Okay, this was what I went on doing. Okay, the intercultural competency. Okay, to develop assessment tools, to develop later on virtual reality using intercultural communication for Mandarin as a foreign language. Okay, I also, so I guess working with other departments, other faculties, in this case, with another friend, okay, in the University of Malaya, we were working on a grant actually. So we're thinking of applying for grants, a grant for teaching older adults who are in nursing homes and their caregivers. So we applied for the grant, but before that we thought, okay, let's do some work, and decided to do some survey, and we managed to publish this paper as well in a project. So unfortunately, we still didn't get the grant. Okay, but we'll keep on working together, and hopefully we'll be able to use social media and other media to help promote caregivers, okay, knowledge and skills in caring for older adults. And another project that I am co-respondent in is with children with disabilities for using video games, exergaming, okay, for them. So with this, we collaborate in University of Malaya. It's multidisciplinary, but we also collaborate with institute, Teacher Training Institute. Okay, so higher education, of course, okay, there are lots of potential for us. To me, I think every one of the lecturers in University Malaya can actually collaborate with us in the Faculty of Education because you are teaching. So there is so much potential actually in collaborating with us so that we can work together and get, the humanistic perspective. So even when I'm talking, I guess you can see that I am a bit more humanistic in nature, in the sense I address different things as compared to a practical scientific course. So I also would like to highlight one of the research that I did, which I guess is also interdisciplinary, and this is in collaboration with the researchers that I worked with, okay, for teacher education at Australia during the Endeavour Executive Fellowship. So we managed to produce some materials to help with training for teachers to use, and we continue on to actually showcase many more virtual reality items, okay, with my colleagues, and I also continue working with the collaborators there in Australia. So what works? I guess having more opportunities to share and get to know each other within our university for one thing, having training sessions. So this is important because it takes two to tango. I cannot do it alone on myself, so I choose to take this approach. I need to do something, you need to do something. I need to know when to back up, and you need to go forward when it is your turn. We need to collaborate and share our expertise. So making friends is a very important thing. Once we know the person, that's where we can get the marriage, as Prof. Zambrus says. We get to know the person before we can love the person, and then decide to get married to the person and share a grant together. So I think getting to know each other in different faculties. So if the university provides us opportunities to meet and share, that would be very, very great. And when we share, we highlight our expertise. So if, like, for example, I'm highlighting my expertise now, that may spark an idea. Oh, okay, what about what I am doing? Can I do it? So that is the purpose that I share my project, so that you can maybe have some ideas and work on it. And me and my colleagues at the Faculty of Education, we have the humanistic part, okay, when it comes to social sciences, the education, the psychology aspect. So that part may be able to help you as you implement your project. I think that there is a lot of potential actually. Okay, challenges, there are lots of challenges when you work with people. People are different as scientific equipment and things that are disciplined, people are not. Okay, so we need to know the other person. So I may have a different perspective, you have a different perspective, and it may differ. So we have to sometimes ask questions, sometimes argue, why cannot do it this way, why do I have to do this? Okay, but maybe I think you need to have theories on education, on pedagogy, different perspectives perhaps. So there are many things that we may sometimes need to fight about. Okay, but don't worry, that is part of forming good relationships. Okay, fighting. Okay, so provide information, be open to new ideas, especially with something that you have not done before. I think no harm in trying to explore, and that's how we get new things, new knowledge. And of course, working hard. All of the projects that I shared with you, many of them were projects that did not work. Okay, I mean, we tried to get a grant, I said, but were not successful. But so be prepared to work hard. Sometimes it doesn't come out the way you want. So papers get rejected, grants cannot. So that is part of life. Okay, I guess we have to do the difficult things first before we get some success. After all, like Thomas Edison, was it? He had how many disasters before he finally had his breakthrough. Okay, so build networks, socialize, don't work alone in silos. Okay, now when I mention about forming groups, it's okay when we first meet people, we hello, how are you? That's the norming stage. We need to go into a storming stage before we actually build good relationships. So actually fighting is very good and very healthy to disagree, but of course do it not physically, yeah. Do it in a nice way so that we can form better relationships and can build our expertise and specializations. So I guess having an open mindset, looking at perspectives in a different way, that's where we can get innovation, and teamwork and collaboration helps a lot. Okay, so getting a right partner who you can dance with, you can tango with, okay, and take the risk and go forward, and that may help. Okay, so I think that's from me. I hope also that I have not exceeded, okay, the time limit. So good luck, all the best. So we look forward to more collaborative research. Go and see us at the Faculty of Education. Dr. Zabidi is one good point of contact, and of course, you can go to any one of us to look for multidisciplinary research. Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Over to you.
Welcome, and thank you also to you. Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy, for the informative talks, especially about potential collaboration to conduct interdisciplinary research with Faculty of Education. Thank you very much again. Yeah. Now we go to the third presenter, and before that, I just want to respond to Prof. Nia's comments. It's very good to share or to answer after finish the presentation because it's fresh idea, but because we just want to control our time, that's why we try to finish the presentation first. Yeah. Okay. Next, we continue with our third panel, our respected Associate Professor Dr. Hendrik. Associate Professor Dr. Hendrik Simon Cornelis Metzeler from Department of Mechanical Engineering, Faculty of Engineering. Hanks Metzeler obtained his Master in Chemical Engineering from the University of Twente in 1994. His thesis subject was ceramic thin films on steel by MOC VD as corrosion protection. He obtained his PhD from the same university in 2001 on thermally induced wear of ceramics. Since 2001, he has lectured in University of Malaya in the Material Engineering program. His research interests include the processing of ceramic, especially bioceramic. He has a particular interest in colloidal filtration and electrophoretics disposition. Furthermore, the tribology of ceramic. He has recently led a large project on phase change material for thermal energy storage. This includes thermal modeling of the melting, solidifying, designing shape-stable composite with a little as 3% solid material, encapsulation of PCM in ceramic materials and nanofluids. Presently, he is co-supervising a student doing classification research on museum ceramics and two groups of students designing and building a 3D printer for clay or ceramic paste. Associate Professor Dr. Hanks, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Zabidi. Okay, so I was already sharing my slides. I did not expect so long introduction about myself. Okay, can I confirm that my slides?
Yep, we can see a slide now.
Okay. Thank you very much. So welcome to my presentation. Thank you all for attending. I call it simply Flip Museum. That's kind of the short title for our IIRG project. And my name, Henk Metzeler. I pity you having to torture your tongue, so just keep it to Henk, short and simple. Okay, so this is a rock star tour, and we all want to become a rock star. Okay, so we know many rock stars. And I'm sure you can give us your favorites. I was looking for you, and we see a lot of them we know just by their own name. Okay, but actually they do not work alone. All right, and another thing that I've noticed with rock stars is that even though we know them as rock stars, they've been trained as classical musicians. So, for example, you see a few musicians here. They do not play alone, right? This is in the gardens. If you play alone, it will sound no good at all. You need a group of people. And not only do you need a group of people, you need a group of people who complement each other. So you have some instrument with a high pitch, and you have some instruments with a very low pitch. Okay. So that's the first thing about being a rock star. Don't think of it as being a star. You're part of the ensemble. Now for our IIRG project, actually we started with a question, and this was years ago. And our question was, what does it mean to be a museum in a university? There should be a clickable here, the museum. So you probably know, or you may not know, that we have not just one museum on the campus. I think it is 7. But what does it mean, a museum? Is it just a place where we say, okay, we have some old stuff here, we put it in a cupboard, put a bit of glass in front so that the cleaner doesn't have to dust it every day, and if somebody get lost, they can walk around there and look at the old stuff. That's a very old-fashioned interpretation of museum, right? We do not see it that way now. And also, why should that be in a university, right? What is the function of a museum inside a university? So first, let's see, what is a museum? Now, in modern times, we see a museum as a place for education. I put that informal with a question mark, so very, very tentative, because I know they're education people and they would knock my head if I say it's informal education. It can be informal if you just walk in, interested, and you browse around. It's like informal, maybe self-directed, lifelong learning, whatever terms you want to give to it. But it could be part of a curriculum as well. A teacher can say, okay, class, we go to the museum. This is your learning objective. Or maybe they don't tell the learning objective, but it becomes a more formal kind of education. But a museum is a place for that. And you know what? A university is also a place for education. So there is already a kind of match, because museum and university both have something to do with educating. But a university is also a place where we do research, right? And some people do their research in education, engineering, science, economy, you name it, history, arts, everything. So the idea of our group, and I didn't name the group members, very sorry about that, but the idea of our group was to develop our museum, specifically the Museum of Asian Art, as a place or a center for learning and research. So learning should happen there, but also it should contribute to the research in the university. Okay, now when we want to plan research, we normally start with questions. Okay, so let's say we have a ceramic object. You heard in the introduction that my interest is ceramic. Obviously, that's how I came to join this effort. So we have a ceramic object. Okay, what research question could we possibly ask? Right, well, we have some space to the right, so we can put some question there. What does it represent? Obviously, if it's not too small on your screen, it's an elephant, actually 2 elephants. The one in the back is holding its tusk down, the one on the front is holding its tusk up. There are a few figures there as well. There are 2 on top of the elephants, and there are 3 more at the bottom. Okay, so we know what it represents. or we can study it. Okay, but then we have to ask ourselves the question, why was it made? What was the purpose of the thing? Was it just for decorating the house? Was it a religious purpose, or a kind of offering to a king? Or, you know, why was it made? Also, by who was it made? Okay, so this one, if you are aware of art history, this one is from Sukhothai. So this is from Thailand. So it were Thai people who made it. When was it made? So again, this is a question that we can answer. And I hope even after 4 questions, we can see that this is not a single discipline, because the first question is maybe more towards arts. But here we go more into the history. Where was it made? Okay, this relates, of course, to who made it. So this was made in Thailand. What is it made of? It's made of ceramic. Okay, that's a short answer, but we can study it. What ceramic? What is the source material? Is the source material from close by to the kiln, to the workshop, or has it been transported over a distance? So we can do a materials engineering study on the material itself, not looking at the design, not looking at any of the other questions. We only look at the material. And a related question, how was it made? Not is, sorry. How was it made? So what technology did the maker have? You know, is it formed by hand? Is it formed as one piece, or is it made in separate pieces and then joined? Is it fired together with the glaze that's on top, or is it done in different stages? And when the firing was done, at what temperature was it done? You can tell this is my interest, right? So I can expand a little bit. What was the technology employed in the furnaces? That is a very important question in ceramic history. Other than where was it made, we can also ask, where was it found? Maybe I should have put that question higher up. Was it found close by to where it was made? So it was made for a local purpose, or did it travel halfway around the world? We do find Chinese ceramics in Arabia, for example. Okay, so this again tells us something about the history. If it did travel a long distance, how did it get there? Okay, so apart from history, this also relates to economy or economical history, or the history of economy, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so for every discipline, we can ask our own questions. I elaborated slightly on the material questions. I'm sure arts people can elaborate much more on the arts-related questions. History professors can elaborate much more on the historical questions, and so on, right? So when we study all those questions, we want to also employ the learning, the education function of the museum. So the related or the follow-up question is then, how do we let visitors, and I put there, discover the answer, okay? Because teaching is only one mode of education. It could also be the visitors discover the answers by themselves. It could be that they just read the answer on, you know, those cards or explanations that museums have, or it could be a kind of discovery in the form of a puzzle where they can figure things out for themselves. Or we have learning by doing, right? So maybe you can do something practical to find out the answers. So the end question after all the preliminary questions is, how do we let the visitors discover the answer? Okay. And we can do this the very old-fashioned way. As I said, we can hang a placard with, you know, this is a ceramic object. It was found there, it's made, and that century at that place, and so on and so forth. But that's quite old school, right? Maybe we should move with the times, because yes, our training is classical, but then we want to do rock, right? So we need to get into more modern music. So should we move with the times? Question mark. And I will answer my own question. I say yes, we should. Okay. This doesn't look very inviting anymore. I mean, it was never inviting. The people in this kind of classroom setting definitely don't enjoy it. You see this guy here is already asleep. Okay. So we need to do something different. So okay. For our museum, we have looked at flipped classroom. I was surprised to see that Dr. DeWitt has done work on flipped classroom. I didn't know, so that shows us the importance of this kind of sharing session. So in case people are not aware what flipped classroom is, we have a traditional classroom where the bulk of the education, and it's, you see the largest area is represented by lecture or classical activities. There's a teacher here, teacher is in orange, and the students all paying attention to what the teacher says. But just supposedly they are active listening, but probably they are just passive. All right. End of the day, they are sent home, and at home they have to do their homework activities. Okay, this is the traditional setup. But what we want is to develop flipped. And what does it mean? Flipped. In a flipped classroom, a small amount of the time is given to lecture. And some more, because we are 21st century people, we don't need the teacher to give the same lecture every year to different students. We might as well record the lecture and let the student watch the video, right? What for do we want to repeat the same effort again and again? Let the computer do that. This way, the student prepares. And when the student comes to class, they're ready to do activities. Okay, activities that help them to master the subject. And that could be all sorts of things. It could be a discussion. They're sitting here set up for a discussion. It could be a hands-on project, problem-based learning, anything, right? Of course, if you just give it to the students, it may not come to a good completion. So the teacher must be here. And here the teacher is very important. The teacher supervises and can kind of direct or steer learning of the students. Okay, and this is different for every group. This is different every year. So here the teacher needs to be present in person. And this is, let's say it's about 80%, well, maybe a bit less, 70% of the time. Okay, so we want to develop this same idea of flipped classroom. We want to develop it for a flipped museum. So we need to, if I just recap a little bit from before, we need to have our basic knowledge in order. So everyone in the project needs to contribute to this basic knowledge. And this is, for example, the science. What are the scientific properties of the ceramic, the engineering, how was it made, and so on and so forth. It relates to the arts history, the regular history, and so on and so forth. All those we need to compile. And then we design a flipped model where we give a package to the students to prepare themselves, and then come to the museum. Of course, in our setting, this is not a classroom activity. This will be a museum activity. They come to the museum to do the activities there. Okay. Well, that's a good theory. So what activity should those be? We should have activities that address the heart, the hands, and the head, right? The heart, we want to have students engaged. We want to have them interested. So, for example, an activity that we had in mind was we make pictures, probably three-dimensional representation of a number of objects in the museum. And in their preparation, we ask them, which one do you like the most? Very simple. So hopefully they will pick, oh, I like this one because the color is interesting for me. Or this one has such a nice shape. Or this one seems to have a very interesting history. Okay, also a bit depending on the age of the children. This could address their heart. Okay. Then we want the students to learn something more about it. Learning in a very maybe traditional sense. So, well, maybe not that traditional. We prepare some short paragraphs, some short videos, and so on. So we address their head, their intelligence. And also we want the students to experience. So work with their hands. Give them a ball of clay and let them make the same shape, right? Let them try to get the same decoration. Some of the ceramics have a very nice pattern on it. So let them make the same pattern. Let them discover how difficult that is, or how easy, how fun it is. All right, so we address their hands. Yeah. So together, that should be our IIRG title, which is MOAA, the Museum of Asian Art, a model for Flit Museum in Malaysia. It's IIRG 00819 SAH. So thank you very much to the cluster for giving us the chance to do that. The closing activity of this program that we had in mind, we had already planned it, but then COVID came along, was to have the closing activity in the museum during the Independence Day last year, 31st August, as a night in the museum, where we could do all those activities in the museum itself. And if we got the permission, also let the students sleep there. But unfortunately, COVID came along and it didn't actually happen. Okay, I didn't put on a slide, but some words on the challenges. Our challenge was getting money for a setup like this and getting the idea focused enough to do it. Okay, our initial ideas was just to research the ceramic from different angles, but we didn't have the education aspect, so it was kind of stuck in just a research. And we tried several different types of grant, and every time it was rejected, until we thought, okay, we need to do something like this education. Actually, we talked to Dr. Azza from the Mummies Lab. If you remember, that was quite a big thing a few years ago, where you can bring your children to the lab, to not actually the lab, to the university, to do this kind of science-based activities. And this kind of focused our whole idea into something that was credible enough for the cluster to say, okay, go ahead, go and develop this module. Okay, so that's from our group. So to be slightly specific, our sub-programs, sub-program 1 is on the education, the development of the modules, the development of the teaching materials. Sub-program 2, if I have the order correct, is the engineering and science. No, that's 3. Is the engineering and science-based subgroup, which studies the material properties of the ceramic. And sub-program, the last one, is computer science to make three-dimensional models of ceramic artifacts and then serve it to the public using internet-based technology. All right, but as you saw from the beginning, there are many questions we can ask from the ceramics. Hopefully you got an idea, okay, I can add something related to my research. You can always join, okay, even though for the grant we are full, but we're very welcoming any other collaborations from other people. So I think I definitely did not overshoot the time. I'm not a speaker for long speeches. So thank you very much for your attention. I'll give back to Prof. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you very much to Dr. Hanks for the valuable and interesting information that you shared with us, especially about the University Museum. Thank you very much again. Okay, respected participant, now our panel will answer question in the meeting chat. If you have any question, please do send in the meeting chat. Open for the Q&A session now. There's no question. Any question to Prof. Zambrus, Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy, and Associate Professor Dr. Hanks? There's no question. Okay, yeah. Waiting for the question. Actually, this session we try to expose our expert in different area. So now all the researcher from the different discipline can work together. Especially we got Prof. Zambrus from dentistry, Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy from Faculty of Education in area of instructional technology, and also Associate Professor Dr. Hanks from engineering. So yeah, please do contact us if you need more information about them, and also if you can contact our panelists as well if you want to conduct your research with them as well. Okay, still open for the Q&A for the question from the participants. Okay, I think we don't have any question. I think it's very clear for the presentation from the Prof. Zambrus, Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy, and Dr. Hanks. Now, the time to work together interdisciplinary. So please do contact, as I explained earlier, all the experts in the different area. Okay, so if we don't have any question, I just want to say thank you again to all panelists for this session. It hopes that our program provides opportunity for researchers, people working in the field, and others with an interest in the area to gather and discuss and to network with each other, to engage and experience centers expert giving insight into the activities and latest work. My fellow audience, finally, we come to the end of this session. I would like to thanks again to our esteemed panelists, Professor Dr. Zambrus, Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy, and Associate Professor Dr. Hanks for their very informative and interesting and valuable sharing. And to audience, thank you very much for your participation. Hopefully, this sharing experience session will be beneficial for all of us. Finally, thank you to Research Cluster Office for organizing this session. I would like to invite all of you to join the photo session. Please on your camera for the photo session. Okay. Yana, siapa mi? Vela.
Ada Nadira.
Okay.
Everyone can see your camera. Okay, ready? One, two, three, smile. Okay, one more. One, two, three, smile. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Nadira. And also, thank you for attending. We hope that we learn a lot from this session. Okay, I think that's all. Until then, thank you very much again. See you next time. Okay, thank you, Prof. Zambrus, and bye-bye. See you next time.
Thank you,
very
everyone.
much.
Thank you, Prof. Zabidi.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.